Welcome to the den, folks. Today we are testing new books, we are testing new audio, and hopefully for the best in all categories. Now, before we get into today's video, you know I gotta say thank you. You guys have been subscribing left and right, and I cannot say thank you enough. I truly appreciate it, guys. Remember, when we hit that 250 subscriber mark, I'm gonna be getting this away to one of you, and we will have another video on that eventually when we hit that, and it doesn't seem like that's gonna be too far off, so stay tuned for that. So as far as today's list goes, you can see I've got one set up behind me there, and we're gonna get into that shortly, but you know, I was going through the Codex, I was looking through your guys' comments, reading, responding. I didn't get to everybody yet, I swear I will, I promise. However, I really agree with basically everybody, right? We're gonna be taking smaller units of boys, we're gonna be taking more mechanized list, and I also wanna say thank you for pointing out that it is a Warboss per detachment, not a Warboss per army. So you could definitely take, you know, patrols or battalion and patrol, whatever, to get those extras for the breaking heads. Still is a stratagem, which still kind of is going to limit us per, you know, one per phase, but it is to mention you do have some positioning there, so good catch. Thank you for that correction. For the list sitting behind me, I did restrict myself to only orc units that I own, and while I have the majority of the units, there are definitely some vehicle units that I just hadn't purchased yet, because to be honest, they weren't that great, or I just hadn't, you know, had the time or money to get them. And now that vehicles are, of course, a little bit more prevalent in 9th edition, I do think I'm gonna, you know, obviously be picking those up. That being said, what would you guys be building if you had no restrictions on those orc units, right? Throw in the comments, tell me what kind of list you'd like to build. You don't have to put it word for word, but tell me the gist of it. Would you just be going all down the vehicles? Would you be going fully beast snaggas? I'm interested to see and cannot wait. We have just about 2,000 points, if I did my addition correctly, and looking at it, it's at like, I think 1998 or something. So overall, the HQ slots are going to be just two simple HQs. We have our Warboss, of course, going to be equipped with the Killer Claw and some rockets here. And this guy's going to be riding with the other HQ slot, a big mech here, just with a custom force field, as well as a Painboy and 8 mega nobz. They're going to be all slotted into this Battlewagon in the background, and he's just going to be getting them up to it. I have had some pretty good success with a list like this I ran the other day, where you just basically are trying to get within ramming speed, and you know, when you get out at the end, you're going to have just all of this insane melee here in their face, and that's kind of the idea behind the whole list. In our second Battlewagon, which is going to be upgraded to the Fortress here, we're just going to have 20 beast snaggas. Now, I don't have these guys fully painted here, and I apologize for that, but hey, we're working on it. And again, likewise, this is just about getting those beast snagga boys to the front lines. I don't really care if the Battlewagon makes it. It's very durable. These things being like T7, you know, 16 wounds or something like that off the top of my head. Absolutely a great tool to just run up the board. In our next heavy slot and an HQ slot here, we have our next part of the list, which is my absolute favorite unit, just our Def Dreads. And we have, of course, a big mech to walk up the board, giving them the 6-up invuln and being able to repair those guys. That on top of Ramshackle, I really think are going to make Def Dreads a absolute just terror, an absolute nightmare for your opponent to see across the battlefield here. In this one, we've got one with quad saws. We've also got one with double saw and double scorcha. This is my favorite one here. I love him. He killed a Primaris librarian with his double scorcha the other day. Burned him to a crisp. It was great. It was great. And then, of course, we have one here to kind of run up as well. We've got triple saw and a custom Mega Blasta on that one. Now, in the new Codex, there are no claws. You only get the option of saws, so that's kind of an interesting tidbit there for the Def Dreads. In the dedicated transport slot, we're just going to be rocking 10 Slugga choppa boys. The idea here, again, pretty simple. You're just running this truck. It's only 70 points for the truck. You're running it up the battlefield, contesting an objective, maybe taking one or two. These guys are going to be obsec, of course, so being able to just tie up an objective for a turn is pretty sweet, and this thing moves like 12 inches, and ramming speed, you get 3d6 charge. It's amazing. You can't go wrong with it. In our lone fast attack slot, I'm just bringing 15 Stormboys. Now, these are just Slugga choppa boys with jetpacks magnetized on the back of them, because because, well, Stormboys are expensive and jetpacks were not. So that was perfect. It works out really well. These guys are going to be starting, you know, up top and just dropping down immediately. Really good at scoring engage in all fronts. Really good at coming down and just doing like a retrieve Octaria Datus or something. If you're lucky, you can just, you know, you can actually get 2 out of them because they do auto advance like 6 inches. I'm pretty excited for these guys in the new edition as well. I mean, they're basically the same, but absolutely, yep, huge fan. Again, these guys are very good at just performing one strict, you know, role, and they're gonna do it just fine. In one of our elite slots here, we have just another little homemade unit and some Commandos. Now these little Commandos, they got a little bit of an upgrade that they can deploy anywhere, you know, anywhere on the battlefield, 9 inches away. Again, these guys getting the buff to their save when they're in cover. They're just gonna be sitting on objectives from the get-go. They're going to be very good at scoring the Retrieve Octaria Datus, or again, engage in all fronts. Orcs are very good at board control, and I think this particular list in general can probably score engage in all fronts from the get-go. I wouldn't say the entire game, but I bet you're scoring 12 points easy. You're scoring 12 points easy. And to round out the list here, we just have 2 sets of troops. We have a set of 10 Grots, a set of 10 Shoota Boys. I opted for some Shoota Boys over Slugga choppas because these guys are likely just going to be sitting on one of the back objectives, you know, and kind of screening out any deep strike. And they do have the Daka weapon, so if something does get close, they can unleash a Fury of Fire, and they'll still benefit from the Waagh if there is something too, so they can still get the +1 attack, and you know, they're fine. Grots, you know, they're just kind of our filler here, and that's exactly what we're doing. Same thing, they're going to be screening out some of these vehicles or screening out the back end. Hopefully, you know, just sitting on an objective and just chilling. Now, even though my Decimals did suffer a bit of a blow in the 9th edition Codex, I'm not abandoning my boys in blue. They've never given up on me. I'm not giving up on them. 100% will be running them as Decimals the majority of the time. That being said, that's the cool thing about playing your buddies. You can play them as whatever you want. I'll be playing these probably as some snake bites. I really want to test out their transhuman ability. I'll probably be testing them out as some goths because who doesn't love exploding 6s and strength 5 on the charge? So, you know what, guys? I think we're going to be fine with any of these cultures, to be honest. It's all in fun here. Well, that wraps up my army here, guys. Tell me what you guys think of my list. If you're not a subscriber, maybe go ahead and consider hitting that subscribe button if you've enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for watching.